Hello, people of God. This is by Jacob's Way TV, and I am Dupi Dupi Singer. This is episode 157. 157. We are still talking about God's gold. Why I need to talk and reiterate the issue of God's gold is because for me, it's a vision that has been pursued. It is a purpose that has been pursued. I I got update from God along the way. There was a day I had a revelation and it showed me a very bad wound. And I was told that if I use God's gold for the bad wound, it will be healed. And you know that diabetic wounds are very bad. And there was a case, God always brought people my way to confirm what he's saying. There was a case of an old woman that had a very, very bad wound. And then I gave her God's gold. She was taking it, I think, from diabetes. And the thing that struck me was that fresh flesh grew out in replacement, excuse me, of the decayed flesh. Fresh flesh grew back, grew out. That's what I always see about issues of cancer that are external. I don't know about the internal ones, but the external ones, I I noticed that fresh flesh comes and clears the decayed flesh. I'm not a medical person, but that is the thing. Remember, I told you once that I started from the premise of the fact that the Holy Spirit can teach you all things. The Holy Spirit can teach you all things. Um, the Lord also showed me one day very vividly. I would say, ouch, when He showed it to me. I said, Lord, why are you so vivid? He showed me what looked like spam that was quite watery and um, and not effective. And the Lord told me if you use God's gold, your sperm will be normal and it will be effective. So I also knew that I could work for male fertility. And I had a case that I was told that the man and the woman had been married for 6 years. The wife had never been pregnant because of low sperm count. And we used God's gold for them. To the glory of God, they have 3 children now. In fact, one of the children is now in the university. And the Lord kept updating for me what I could use God's gold for. At a point, He showed me how to fabricate an equipment with which I can produce a large quantity. I can produce with the equipment. I can produce more than 200 liters at a go. He showed it to me. I'm still talking about. He will teach you all things. So I started asking somebody, how can I find somebody who can fabricate things for me? I finally found somebody who's also a Christian who came. I described what was shown to me and he fabricated it. I still have it in my compound, in my house. Fabricated an equipment with which I can produce about 200 liters or more of God's gold at a go. And then he once told me to tell my story to somebody that is close to me. She was working in Louth and she still does, but I didn't know what she was doing in Louth. She is the wife of my husband's friend. I didn't know what she was doing in Louth, and the Lord told me. I woke up that morning. I told my husband. The Lord said I should discuss God's gold with this person, Mrs. Adeyemi. She's now a professor. Uh, at that Dr. Adeyemi, I just said, I said, what does she do? He said he didn't know. He said he just knew that she was working in Louth. I got in touch with her, and by God's grace, she came to my house and I discussed all the things that the Lord has shown me. She's also a daughter of Zion, somebody that loves the Lord, somebody that actually, one of the people that prayed me into salvation. I'm always saying that. Somebody who saw me and said, "Look at this woman," instead praying for me. I believe that our prayer and the prayers of the saints were the ones that God answered. That's God brought me salvation. She came and I explained everything to her. And I showed her the equipment. And she looked at me and said, "Mrs. Singer, but this is what we use in the laboratory." She turned out to be somebody. It was from there I learned the difference between pharmacognosy and pharmacology. You see, it will teach you all things. I speak some scientific language these days, sometimes in relation with God, to God's good. And the difference, the pharmacognosy, if I get it, the pharmacognosist, if I get it right. If I'm wrong, well, I've told you already, I'm not a scientist. The pharmacognosist is the one that will use the herbs, turn the herbs into orthodox medication. When she told me that I was the arm of a field of occupation, I looked at her and I looked at her sincerely. I said, "Did you think I knew what you were doing? Do you even think I know what pharmacognosy is?" She said she knew that I did not. She knew that I didn't know. And she told me that a while ago, then, we're talking about many years back, she had gone outside Nigeria for a conference. And when she was about to leave the conference, somebody who also came to the conference came to her and gave her a complimentary card and said to her, "Mrs. Adeyemi, in case you find anybody that we can fund, take my card and get in touch with me. You will finance the, the herbal thing." And she told me that in recent times, maybe 2 weeks earlier, she had found the card because she couldn't find anybody, as it were. Found the card in her bag. She had already thrown it into the trash bin. And the Holy Spirit said to her, pick it up. Take it, you might still need it. And she herself said that the Lord had told her before that somebody was going to come her way that would bring um, a herbal thing that she would use to do an orthodox medicine, medication. Everything was adding up. There was a day I asked the Lord at a point, "Why are you disturbing me with this thing?" And the Lord said to me, I said, "Are you sure you are the one speaking to me? Are you sure?" Because you see, in my church circles, even my pastor was already getting angry with me. And, there were gang ups against me. They were saying, um, "Can this be God? Is this divine? Is this from somewhere else?" I'm sure you can hear a mosque calling for prayers behind me. I'm so far gone in this video that I cannot stop because of that. I don't think it will disturb this video. You forgive me for that. I try to avoid it. I can't avoid it this time. And yeah, there was gang up. I remember that a man of God called me aside and said, "Guard your vision very jealously. People will shred it. People will tear it, or people will say the Lord did not speak to you. It might have started like a little grain of wheat. One day it's going to become very big." And that helped me because there was, like I said, there was a gang up against me. The Lord kept speaking and I kept believing in God. So I would brew my 200, above 200 liters of God's gold, keep it for it to ferment, and then wait for it to heal itself. And I was bottling it 50 ml, no, 500 ml. And don't forget, I was selling at 55 naira. When I told my mother said, "Are you sure you had God?" And I told my husband said, "Ha, what kind of God will ask you to sell something for 55 naira?" But I had him. You see, I'm reliably persuaded that if God had told me He will make uh, whatever amount of money that is large in my eyes from the very, very beginning, that might have been the driving force for me. It wouldn't be the voice of the Lord that I had, that I am trusting Him on, and I'm following His instructions and obeying His commandments. That is the reason why God starts you small, so that at least He will know that you believe in Him and you trust in Him. And of course, in the process, He will also be processing you so that you can handle challenges. I'm always saying, where I am now with God's gold, I can sit in front of any scientist and defend all the things that the Lord has shown to me. In the next episode, I'm going to show you, I'm going to share with you what the Lord told me about God's gold again, that I'm still waiting for the fulfillment. But I am always saying to people, if many of the things that the Lord had told me that I had pursued do not even come to pass, let it be written concerning me that I heard the voice of the Lord and I obeyed Him. Like I went to the bush. I've told you now the Lord is going to use that bush to be a church. I'm going to preside over a church of God when it is the appointed time. Even if that does not come to pass, I always ask myself or ask people who say, "Are you sure you know what God is saying?" I will ask the person, if it were you, would you even have gotten up at all? Have you asked yourself before, if you were Abraham, would you have left your own land, left your own kindred, and you have walked a long distance to a land that you do not even know where it is? You will have, that was like saying bye-bye to everything that he had known before. I thank God for grace to follow. And I'm always still asking that I will follow His direction and His instructions. And I hope you will also keep following His instructions or keep asking for direction in case you have not started doing the same. This is my Jacob's Way TV. This is, again, my Jacob's Way TV. I'm Dupi Dupi Singer. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and do all the needful. Please pursue your purpose. You never know what God will do with what He has given to you. God bless you. Bye-bye.